Who else is there? ऋषभ प्रभु, ऋषभ प्रभु, सौरभ प्रभु, विक्रम प्रभु, आपको वीडियो
हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा। Oh, सौरभ प्रभु, oh, हरि बोल। नाइस टू मीट सौरभ। Saurabh Prabhu is our one of the initial devotees. Hari. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Rishabh and Vikram Prabhu, you can also put your video on. Is it possible? So we will discuss this chapter Pandavajita timely. This is 1:15:16. Okay, and that was 2.1.2. Okay, we will discuss some of the things which was I was a little bit thinking about. So this is actually Pandavas retiring timely. Very nice verses. Discussing with this. Yeah. So here you can see the Arjuna is remembering how the Lord Krishna was all the time with being with him and doing everything. It was by his mercy only that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. It was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared engage him as my chariot driver. For his worshipped and offered services by the best men to attain salvation. So Arjuna was a very intimate friend, but he was remembering that how the Lord was there for everything, Because of Lord's presence only, he was completely protected and everything was done by him. And yeah, so here they get the news that how Lord Krishna he has left, the planet. So that's how he's remembering now. So they are very much remembering the Lord's intimate dealings and pastimes, what Lord did when he was on the planet. Now the Lord has left. So, O Emperor, now I am separated from my friend and the dearmost well-wisher, the Supreme Personality Godhead, and therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. In his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel, coward men when I was guarding the bodies of all the wives of Krishna. And the important point in this verse is how it was possible that Arjuna could be defeated by a gang of ignoble coward men, and how such mundane coward men could touch the bodies of the wives of Lord Krishna, who were under the protection of Arjuna. Sri Vaishnava Thakur has justified the contradiction by research in the Vishnu Purana and Brahma Purana. In this Purana, it is said that once the fair denizens of heaven pleased Ashtavakra Muni by their service and were blessed by the Muni to have the Supreme Lord as their husband. Ashtavakra Muni was curved in the 8 joints of his body, and thus he used to move in a peculiar curved manner. The daughters of the demigods could not check their laughter upon seeing the movements of Muni, and the Muni, being angry at them, cursed them that they would be kidnapped by ropes, even though they would get the Lord as their husband. Later on, the girls again satisfied Muni by their prayers, and Muni blessed them that they would regain their husband even after being kidnapped by the ropes. So, in order to keep the words of the great Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his wives for the protection of Arjuna. So these coward boys, ordinary coward boys, they were actually himself Krishna. Krishna only came in their form, in those forms. Yeah. Lord himself kidnapped his wives for the protection of Arjuna. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the ropes. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the ropes. Besides that, some of the gopis who prayed to become wives of the Lord returned to their respective positions after their desire was fulfilled. After the departure of Lord Krishna, he wanted all his interest back to Godhead, and they were all called back under different conditions only. I had this very same Gandiva bow, the same arrow, the same chariot, drawn by the same horses, and I used them as the same Arjuna, to whom all the kings offered their due respects. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them, at a moment's notice, have become null and void. It is exactly like offering clarified butter into ashes, accumulating money with a magic wand, and sowing seeds in barren land. As we discussed more than once, one should not be puffed up by the borrowed plumes. All energies and powers are derived from the Supreme Source, Lord Krishna, and they act as long as he desires and cease to function as soon as he withdraws. And they act as long as he desires and cease to function as soon as he withdraws. All electrical energies are received from the powerhouse, and as soon as the powerhouse stops supplying energy, the bulbs and machines are of no use. In a moment's time, such energies can be generated or withdrawn by the supreme will of the Lord. Material civilization without the blessing of the Lord is child's play only. As long as the parents allow the child to play, it is all right. As soon as the parents withdraw their permission, the child has to stop. Human civilization and all activities, therefore, thereof must be dovetailed with the supreme blessing of the Lord. And without this blessing, all advancement of human civilization is like the decoration on a dead body. It is said here that a dead civilization and its activities are something like the pouring of clarified butter on ashes, the accumulation of money by magic wand, and sowing seeds in barren land. Dovetailed with the supreme blessing of the Lord. Without the blessings, all advancement is like the decoration on a dead body. Something like that. Yeah. That's civilized because no blessings. And then he says, O king, since you have asked me about our friends and relatives in the city of Dwarka, I will inform you that all of them were cursed by the Brahmanas, and as a result, they all became intoxicated with wine made of putrefied rice and fought among themselves with the sticks, not even recognizing one another. Now, all but 4 or 5 of them are dead and gone. So all the Yadus, they had killed each other. That's how Lord arranged. So he wanted them to come back. So that's how he arranged. There are so many lessons also why Lord arranges like that. In 11th canto it is clarified further. So actually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, personality of God. Sometimes people kill one another, and at other times they protect one another. According to anthropologists, there is nature's law of struggle for existence, survival of the fittest. But they do not know that behind the laws of nature is the supreme direction of the supreme personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the law of nature is executed under the direction of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is a peace in the world, it must be known that it is due to the good will of the Lord. And whenever there is appeal of the Lord, a will in the world, it is also due to the supreme will of the Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is disobedience of the established rules enacted by the Lord, there is war between men and between the nations. The surest way to the path of peace, therefore, is to outlaw everything with the established rule of the Lord. The established rule is that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, or whatever we give in charity must be done to the full satisfaction of the Lord. No one should do anything, eat anything, sacrifice anything, or give anything in charity against the will of the Lord. Discretion is the better part of valor, and one must learn how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing to the Lord and those which may not be pleasing to the Lord. An action is thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. There is no room for personal whims. We must always be guided by the pleasure of the Lord. Such action is called Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, or actions performed which are linked with the Supreme Lord. That is the art of doing a thing perfectly. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by Personality Godhead Govinda because they are impregnated with instructions for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. Herein Arjuna refers to the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, which were imparted to him by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The Lord left behind him the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita not for the benefit of Arjuna alone, but also for all time and in all lands. The Bhagavad Gita being spoken by the Supreme Personality God is the essence of all Vedic wisdom. It is nicely presented by the Lord Himself for all who have very little time to go through the vast Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Vedanta Sutras. It is put within the study of great historical epic, Mahabharata, which was specially prepared for the less intelligent class, namely the women, the laborers, and those who are worthless descendants of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and higher sections of Vaishyas. The problem which arose in the heart of Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra was solved by the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Again, after the departure of Lord from the vision of earthly people, when Arjuna was face to face with being vanquished in his acquired power and prominence, he wanted again to remember the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, just to teach all concerned that the Bhagavad Gita can be consulted in all critical times, not only for the solace from all kinds of mental agonies, but also for the way out of great entanglements which may embarrass one in some critical hour. Here also Arjuna was very much feeling agony because of Lord leaving, and also he was defeated by the ordinary coward boys. So he had a great realization that I am completely, powerless. The prominence and power which I had, I have no more of that. And he was kind of getting bewildered, but he remembered the instruction of Lord Krishna in the form of Gita, what he has already heard, and again he could become completely established in his real position of being the associate of the Lord. The merciful Lord left behind him the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita so that one can take the instruction of the Lord even when he is not visible to material eyesight. Material senses cannot have any estimation of the Supreme Lord, but by inconceivable power of the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception of the conditioned souls. See, material senses cannot have any estimation of the Supreme Lord, but by his inconceivable power, the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception of the conditioned souls in a suitable manner through the agency of matter, which is also another form of the Lord's manifested energy. See? So, Lord is beyond our senses, but the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception, of the conditioned souls in a suitable manner through the agency of matter, which is also another form of the Lord's manifested energy, like deity form also. The deity form of the Lord is made up of some marbles, wood, stone, something. But the Lord incarnates himself in the form of deity so that our material eyes can see the absolute form of the Lord, absolute spiritual form of the Lord. So it's a deity form is the spiritual form of the Lord which we can see, which the conditioned soul like us can also see. That is the Lord's energy, the Lord's mercy. So that's Bhagavad Gita or any authentic scriptural sound representation of the Lord is also incarnation of the Lord. So when you hear the message of Gita, you have to know it's not different from Krishna. Krishna only entering in your ears. Like we are reading now, so Krishna. It's Krishna entering our ears. So we are coming in association with Krishna. So very amazing. So there is no difference between the sound representation of the Lord. Okay. The Bhagavad Gita or any authentic scriptural sound representation of the Lord is also incarnation of the Lord. There is no difference between the sound representation of the Lord and the Lord Himself. Same way with holy name also. One can derive the same benefit from the Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna did in the personal presence of the Lord. See, same benefit is said. Recently, one proper disciple he came here during Rath Yatra. So there he was mentioning a beautiful point. He said that all of you also have the same or maybe more opportunity to be in association with Srila Prabhupada. Don't think that Srila Prabhupada association is not there. You're saying now maybe Prabhupada association is more available. So because he is always living in his Vani, section is there. So he was giving the example that when Krishna was present personally, how many people were actually able to recognize and take benefit of Krishna's association? Many may not be able to understand also. They were bewildered. They were not knowing. But after Lord Krishna disappears, no, then there may be many people down the line coming and they may become very great devotee because they may understand. Janma karma chame divyam. So many acharyas later came and they haven't been there when Krishna was personally present, but they were very strong devotees of Krishna. But at the time of Krishna, they may not be all like that. So it is not that only because of having physical presence of someone is only our great fortune. So we can also associate with the Lord anytime because Lord is available. Lord is always available. It is not that Lord is not available now to us. Lord is right now available with us. How? In the form of sound vibration, especially in the form of holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we have to believe these statements of scriptures. The holy name is not different from Krishna. Just believe that holy name is not different from Krishna. And then you chant, and then you read, and then you see that because you have invested your faith in the scriptures, Lord will reciprocate. And then you will also then we'll also get realizations also how holy name is not different from Krishna, how Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam message is not different from Krishna, and we will have the experience of association of Krishna more and more through Bhagavad Gita, through holy name. The faithful human being who is serious of being liberated from the clutches of material existence can very easily take advantage of Bhagavad Gita. And with this in view, the Lord instructed Arjuna as if Arjuna were in the need of it. In Bhagavad Gita, 5 important factors knowledge have been told. Okay. The Bhagavad Gita begins with the problems of life by discriminating the soul from the elements of matter and proves by all reason argument the soul is indestructible and in all circumstances and that the outer covering of the matter, the body and the mind change for another term of material existence which is full of miseries. The Bhagavad Gita is therefore meant for terminating all different types of miseries, and Arjuna took shelter of this great knowledge and which had been imparted to him during the Kurukshetra battle. So this is very important to the deity worship what we do, the holy name what we chant, the Bhagavatam what we hear, the service what we render. It is all we should try to put our full heart and attention and consciousness. Should be done like full. But we have to try to be fully present there. Fully present means what? Not with our only body. With our body, with our mind, with our intelligence, with our heart, with our soul. That should be our attempt. That we fully, because this is how we take shelter, taking shelter. All the aspects are meant for taking shelter. Taking shelter means what? How you take shelter? Like suppose you don't know swimming, and you're thrown in the river or you're thrown in the ocean, and suddenly some boat or some rope comes. Then how you take shelter? How will you take shelter? Suddenly, so what will happen? How will you take shelter? Okay, I will catch. Will you catch like this? Or rope came to like this, you will catch a little bit. Will you do like this? Or you just catch like this little bit from one hand. From just a kartal we put like this. Like this, you will you do like that? Very well. Your voice is not able to reach me. You are very
हरे
far.
कृष्णा
Now it reached. It took some time to reach.
आवाज आ रही है प्रभु
It took some time to reach. Now it is reaching. I think. Anybody is able to hear Parthu? I'm not able to hear.
हरे कृष्णा
Now I could hear.
तो बोल रहा हूँ दोनों हाथ से होल्ड कर देंगे
हाँ, कैसे होल्ड करेंगे ऐसे? बस नो, we will be like completely taking shelter, right? We just hold on. Whether your physical body is there, yes. With your mind is there, yes, fully with the rope. Your intelligence and your soul and your heart and everything fully there. Correct? Because that's our shelter. उसको छोड़ दिया तो डूब जाएंगे नहीं. So this is how the spirit should be there when we have these devotional practices. Like you see Keshav Prabhu chanting, how he chants completely Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He struggles. So like some kind of struggle has to be there. We face some difficulty, but we should try our best. Our endeavor should be there. Endeavor should be there. So because if that endeavor is not there, take shelter, then we will not be able to, and have any understanding also what is the meaning of taking shelter. So that endeavor has to be there. So we have to be feeling helpless but hopeful. Hopeful means this unlimited hope. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Because Krishna is the ocean of mercy. So we may be having helpless situation, but Krishna is the most magnanimous personality. He will surely give us shelter, but only we should strive. Should strive our best. So this knowledge of Gita and also we have to try our best. Sometimes what happens, we are bothered with so many things going on parallelly. Job issue is going on, parents issue is going on, another issue is going on, or some conflicts are going on, some relationship issues going on. So many things goes on parallelly in this material world. It's like a flux. So many things keeps going on. But we have to know that this is like compared to ocean, which has so many waves and everything, and we are caught up here. So instead of focusing here and there, which wave is coming, what is happening, instead of focusing our attention, better to take full shelter and focus, give to the rope. And this is called rope. It's called saving grace. So we should, whichever position we are put in, just take shelter. This should be our determination. This should be our orientation of heart. This should be our attitude. That yes, let me take shelter. So having this opportunity to hear Gita, Bhagavatam, or read Prabhupada books, or chant holy name, it's a rare, good, great fortune of ours. Where is the shelter for others? So people don't have this, her understanding. Like I was reading Srila Prabhupada books, Prabhupada says that till the time one doesn't know about God and about his abode, he has no information. Till that time, one will only endeavor to attain some higher material position in this material world. He says this. And then he says that those who actually know, they have those who understand, those who have concluded that material world is nothing but simply birth and death, simply repetition of birth and death. Material world is nothing but simply repetition of birth and death. Those who come to understand this, and they of course know about God and God's abode. So such people can actually take shelter. Such people can actually, think about going back to Godhead that way. So this is very important for us, because we keep moving from one material situation to another material situation, thinking this is better, thinking that is better, think is better, So there only Prabhupada writes that our material disease. What is our disease? He says our disease is to keep moving in this material world here and there. Kabhi upar, kabhi niche. Sometimes heavenly planets, sometimes lower planets. Sometimes hellish planets, again upper planets. Like that we keep moving. We keep rotating in this material world only. It's like a repetition of birth and death. That is our disease. So till the time you are in cycle of birth and death, you have no good condition. It's all same only. It's same only. It's all same. If somebody is, for some time in a higher position, somebody lower position, tomorrow he will be higher, you will be lower. This all things will go on. You today are born in a very good family, tomorrow you may be born in some areas, then somebody may be born in a species, some lower species, some demigod. This how keeps happening. So all keep changing so many times. And this is our disease. And how the disease has come. So he says that disease has come because the beginning happens. Any disease, how it comes? So who will tell? Who will tell? Who will tell how any disease comes?
Infection
Infection, correct.
by microorganisms.
Yeah. So here what infection we have got from three modes of material nature, Prabhupada says. Because we have got infected from three modes of material nature, that's how we have got this disease. Okay, so but in between something more happens. What happens? You get infected by the three modes, then what happens? Then you get a body accordingly. You get some body. And that body will have certain propensities, inclination, proclivities, all that will be there. And that, because of that, as per that, you engage in different activities. And you engage in different activities, then what happens? Then you go either up or down. That's what happens. You choose to follow your good propensities, you may go up. You may choose to follow certain wrong propensities, certain wrong tendencies, wrong proclivities, then you may go down. So like that, different propensities, proclivities, and all there, depending upon how go ahead with that, accordingly you'll go up or down. You'll keep going like that, and that's how you remain in this material world. That disease continues. What is that? And then what is the outcome of going ahead with your propensities and proclivities and inclination as per the body? You will have the cycle of birth and death. You will be having birth and death, and that is the disease process. So disease is this. Disease is cycle of birth and death. And what is cure? Cure is going back to God. So instead of getting into samsmriti, samsmriti is just going round and round and round. One should target go back home to God. So that is something wonderful. That is something intelligent. Otherwise, what is the use? Just keep moving here and there. So, and all begins with association with three modes of material nature. So when taking shelter of Krishna, that actually makes us immune to three modes of material nature. Then we will become slowly purified of all the contamination of three modes of material nature. And because without getting purified, without getting treated from that infection of the three modes, we will not be able to go back home to God. So one has to get purified of all the contamination due to the association with three modes. And one should become so immune by taking shelter of Krishna that the three modes of material nature won't touch. Then one can proceed for going back home to God. So this is the formula proposal. I can show you also. I'll show you from where I am saying this. I'm saying this from 6th canto. You're able to see, Prabhus? You're able to see? कोई हाँ ना कोई बोलता ही नहीं.
Yes, Prabhu, we can see, Prabhu.
See what it says here. Yeah. Read this.
Because of the affluence of the various modes of nature, the living entities have various tendency of propensities, and therefore they are qualified to achieve various destinations. As long as one is materially attached, he want to be elevated to the heavenly planets because of his attraction to the material world.
Wait a minute, there's some more thing also. I think it comes before. Here it will come. So basically, this is a disease going up and down. Where exactly? So, the three modes of material nature is the infection actually. Over the right side here somewhere. That is maybe here. Yeah, see here. This one. Read here.
Unless the living entity is freed from the infection of the material modes of nature, he receives different types of bodies in which to enjoy or suffer. and according to the body, he is understood to have various inclinations.
So,
By following these inclinations, he traverses the path called Parvati Marga, by which one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, as you have already described.
yeah. So both, by which one may be. That means one may go to heaven, one may go down also, depending upon what kind of propensities or inclination. So you can see here. So first is what? Infection. See, that is the first thing happens. No, so he gets infection. Then what happens? After that, he receives a different body. No? See, he receives different other bodies. And then what happens? Then accordingly he will have various inclinations. You see. And then he follows different kind of inclination. Then he may be elevated or degraded. Maybe it can be degraded also. Both is possible. Elevated or degraded, no? Like that. So this is how it happens. And this is the disease, you see. This is the disease of the jiva. So here Papa will say. Hmm. Read this.
If one has no information about the Supreme Lord and is abode, one tries to be elevated only to a higher material position. But when one concludes that in the material world there is nothing but repeated birth and death, he tries to return home, back to Godhead. If one attains that destination, he need he need never return to this material world.
Yeah, so you can see. I just told this thing. Remember? I just told. How many of you remember this? सब वीडियो ऑफ कर लिया सबने. Okay, some of my video on. Do you remember or not? This we just spoke this. हाँ नहीं कुछ बोलते हैं.
Yes, so
Yes, Prabhu. Information about God and is about.
Yeah, correct. So you see, and then Prabhupada says here only somewhere that this is the disease. Says somewhere here only. Somewhere he says, I'm not able to locate. But he said this is the disease of the condition. So he just keeps moving. I mean, in this world only, birth and death, birth and death. This is the disease, repeated cycle, repeated birth and death. Yeah, Samskriti refers to on the path of birth and death, you see. This is what happens. So, let us search like disease. And see, this is only he's telling. Here only it comes. See what is it? All units are rotating. See, this is the disease. Read this.
all living entities are rotating throughout the universe.
Somebody else can also read, bro.
All living entities are rotating throughout the universe, going sometimes up to the higher planetary systems, sometimes down to the lower planets. This is the material disease which is known as Prabhati Marg.
Then read further.
When one becomes intelligent, he takes to Nivritti Marg, the path of liberation, and thus, instead of Rotating within this material world, he returns home back to Godhead.
Yes, this is necessary. Read that also.
This is necessary.
Yes. So you can see this is a disease. Our disease is what? We are getting into this up and down path, moving around in this world. And then here he says, somebody who gets the association of bona fide spiritual master, see, out of many millions of ordinary entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with the bona fide spiritual master, by the case of Krishna, by the mercy of both the Krishna and spiritual master, the person is the seed of Kripa. It's a famous shloka, but it's very meaningful. Sometimes we quote so many times we don't think about it. But imagine, just understand, the disease of this conditioned soul gets terminated by this factor. Somebody comes in touch with one of us. So we all have that fortune because we all have come in touch with Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters. So that is the greatest fortune what we have got. So we'll all have to very seriously take this process of Bhakti Yoga and get purified from all the contamination. So I'll show you in that. Under that time, Deepa. God. So he says that thus being deeply absorbed in thinking of the Lord, which were imparted the great intimacy of friendship, in thinking of the lotus feet, Arjuna's mind became pacified and free from all contamination. So you can see here, since the Lord is absolute, read somebody. Somebody else can read, apart from Dheeraj Pranapashram.
Since the Lord is absolute, deep meditation upon him is as good as yogic trance. The Lord is non-different from his name, from qualities, pastimes, in, in encourage and specific actions. Arjuna began to think of the Lord's instructions to him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only those instructions began to eliminate the tinges of material contamination of in the mind of Arjuna. The Lord is like the sun. The sun's appearance means immediate dissipation of darkness or ignorance, and the Lord's appearance within the mind of the devotee can at once drive away the miserable material effects. Lord Chaitanya has therefore recommended constant chanting of the name of the Lord for protection from all contamination of the material world. The feeling of appreciation, the feeling of
Prabhu,
separation from the
आप
Lord.
words को पढ़ नहीं रहे हो, Prabhu Hari बोल. You are reading some different thing, huh? Lord Chaitanya has therefore recommended constant chanting the holy name of the Lord for protection from all the condition of the material world. The feeling of separation. आप कुछ और ही पढ़ रहे थे प्रभु. क्या पढ़े आप?
Okay, sorry, Prabhu. The feeling of
Feeling of
separation.
what did you read? I did not understand. Something else you read. What did you read?
प्रभु ब्लैक आपने उसको हाईलाइट किया ना तो वो वर्ड नहीं दिखा मुझे एस
हाईलाइट तो किया ही नहीं यार मैंने. अच्छा किया था. ठीक है.
द फीलिंग ऑफ सेपरेशन फ्रॉम द लॉर्ड
ऊपर
इज
भी आप ये encourage पढ़ा था. Encourage नहीं, entourage है ये. Entourage. इसको बड़ा करो क्या? छोटा इससे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है शायद. आराम से पढ़ो आप.
फिर से पढ़ो प्रभु.
अभी दिख रहा है. देखो बड़ा
हाँ
कर
हाँ
दिया मैंने. पढ़िए. Lord Chaitanya has therefore recommended the feeling of
the feeling of separation from the Lord is undoubtedly painful to the devotee, but because it is in connection with the Lord, it is a connection with the Lord. Connection with the Lord, it has a specific transcendental effect which pacifies the heart. Feelings of separation are also sources of transcendental bliss, and they are never comparable comparable to contaminated material feelings of separation.
yes. I think it was small. That's why you're not able to read. Now you read good. So here are some very important things. What is telling meditation on the Lord. That is a very important thing. This is the one factor which can help us in our devotional service. if you can meditate on the Lord, some or the other, if you can fix your mind, if you can fix your attention on the Lord, some or the other, through chanting the holy name or paying attention in Bhagavatam classes or Gita, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Prabhupada books, if you can somehow put your attention there, that will create a powerful energy. Spiritual energy is there, and immediately come in touch with that powerful spiritual potency, and that's how the contamination is gone. Contamination will be you will be purified of the contamination. The Lord is not different from His name, because Lord is present there. Form, qualities, past time, entourage, and specific actions. So then we can think of the Lord's instructions. So He just was thinking, and then what happens? Only those instructions begin to eliminate the tinges of metal contamination in the mind of others. See, just by thinking of those instructions, the tinges of metal contamination was getting removed from the mind, you see. Because sun and darkness, when there is sun, then there is no darkness to drive away. So one thing about instruction is told. Second thing, now what Prabhupada is telling about the chanting the holy name of the Lord. Same thing, when you chant the holy name of the Lord, then you will be all protected from all the contamination of this matter. You see, this is the key, Prabhu. So that's why we have to very seriously take shelter of chanting the holy name of the Lord, because the situation of this world will not going to change. The modes of material nature are powerful; they are going to be there all around. But we can put ourselves under protection by sincerely taking shelter of the holy name of the Lord. That's why we all have to see how can I be fully absorbed in chanting the name of the Lord. So do it in the best possible way. Try to chant in the morning at one go, nicely, focused, trying to hear every holy name, not being casual. These are all very important things. Because if you do this homework, then only you'll have some purification. Otherwise, how will you be purified? How will you have that strength? Feeling of separation from the Lord is undoubtedly painful to the devotee, but because it is in connection with the Lord, so the mood should be that I'm separated from the Lord. So let me remember the Lord, take shelter of Him. So that will purify, then become source of bliss. Read this, Arjuna's constant. Somebody else can read.
Arjuna's constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna rapidly increased his devotion, and as a result, all the trash in his thoughts subsided.
Yeah. So it's telling, because of constant remembrance of the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, rapidly increases devotion. So that's what, if you are constantly trying to meditate on the Supreme Lord's pastimes or His deity form or His holy name, if you are attentive on the Gita or Bhagavatam instructions, or when you're reading Prabhupada books, then if you're meditating on them, so that's how your devotion will increase. It will increase your devotion, man. That's how the bhakti in our heart will be awakened more and more. So this conscious endeavor to remember the Lord has to be there. Apply the mind towards Krishna in the form of His teachings, in the form of His Vigraha Darshan, in the form of His instructions, all that. We have to chant our holy name, we have to do that. So material desires in the mind are the trash of material contamination. By such contamination, the living being is faced with so many compatible and incompatible things that discourage the very existence of spiritual identity. Birth after birth, the conditioned soul is entrapped with so many pleasing and displeasing elements, which are all false and temporary. They accumulate due to our reactions to material desires. But when we get in touch with the transcendental Lord, see, this is the breakthrough. And we all have that opportunity. In His variety energies by devotional service, the naked forms of all material desires become manifest, and the intelligence of the living being is specified in its true color, you see. So all the material desires are hidden here and there, all get exposed, and that will be removed. And then the limit is specified in its true color. As soon as Arjuna turned his attention towards the instruction of the Lord, as they are inculcated in Bhagavad Gita, his true color of eternal association with the Lord became manifest, and thus he felt freed from all material contamination. So many times we forget doing this homework. We just keep battling, with our own strength only. But we don't have any strength. What strength we'll have? We need the touch of the Lord. We need the association of the Lord. By Lord's association, that's why devotee will take the chanting very seriously. Take the instructions of the Lord. Read Prabhupada books. Go ahead. You feel that you are so much troubled here and there. Just take the Bhagavatam. Read for 2 hours, 3 hours. Sometimes we waste so much time. 2-3 hours. Somebody may go for movie. Somebody may just talk to friend. Somebody may do a lot of time. And we think, how can I read 2-3 hours? I don't have so much time. You don't have so much time, but you waste also a lot of time. we waste also a lot of time. If you carefully analyze, sometimes, from morning to afternoon, not much we have done. We have seen that, especially weekend. If you analyze, suppose you are working in weekdays, you will see that sometimes, whole day, Saturday has gone. We didn't do much. Some little bit clothes we washed, some here and there we light, some talked here and there. Okay, time is over. But if suppose you would have planned and read for 5 hours, 6 hours, how much you will get strength, you see? If you can just pay attention to Bhagavatam, pay attention to just read for a long time. Like now you're thinking, some of us will here, devotees will go and one place, whole day stay, we'll just do reading and hearing. We want to do that. I just proposed yesterday, so the devotee was very happy. They were ready to do that. So 3-4 of us will do that. So we're thinking, so we should take some initiatives, on our own. I'm going to read just for next 5 hours. I'm going to just read Bhagavatam. Next 2 hours, I'm not going to say, just being with the holy name. So let the whole world go wherever it wants to go. I will be with holy name. That's how we should be. So we should try our best. Because that kind of thing is very pleasing to Lord. We all should try that. Because that is our hope. From there only we are going to get strength. How you are going to get away from Maya? Tell me. There is no other way. What is the other way? Is there any other way? Somebody knows? Can tell. There is only other way. Maam eva prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Only when we take sincere shelter of the Lord, then only we can come out of Maya. Otherwise, it's not possible. Right? So, Mam evaya prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. That is the shloka. So, as soon as Arjuna turned his attention towards the instruction of the Supreme God, as I inculcated in the Bhagavad Gita, his true color of eternal association with the Lord became manifest. And thus he felt free from all material contamination. Then he says, because of the Lord's pastimes and activities and Arjuna's feeling of separation from him, it appeared that Arjuna forgot the instructions left by the authority of Godhead. But actually, this was not the case. And again, he became Lord of his senses. Yeah. One should think of the Lord always. The mind should not forget him. One should become a devotee of the Lord and offer obeisances to him. One who lives in this fashion become undoubtedly endowed with blessings of the Lord by achieving the shelter of his lotus feet. There is nothing to doubt about this eternal truth, because Arjuna was his confidential friend. The secret was disclosed to him. See, very nice. Arjuna had no desire to fight with his relatives, but he fought for the mission of the Lord. He was always engaged in execution of his mission only. And therefore, after the Lord's departure, he remained in the same transcendental position, even though it appeared that he forgot all the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. One should therefore adjust the activities of the life in pace with the mission of the Lord. And by doing this, one is sure to return home back home to God. This is the highest portion of life. So one thing is becomes very clear. It is not that we will do something for the mission of the Lord only when we will get some time, only when this thing will over. That is nothing like that. Whichever situation you are in, we should do something for the mission. Something we should do. Take books, distribute in a locality, start some program, preach to some boys, bring some boys to your house, neighbors, boys, children, whatever, and give them, tell them about holy name of the Lord. So this some kind of madness has to be there to do something for the mission. If you are not trying to do anything, and thinking that later I will do. What later? We will die only, then what? What is the surety that we will be within this body tomorrow? So today only something we can do. You have to think what I can do today. Today, how can I give this Krishna to somebody? How can I share this message? How can I, what service I can do for the Lord? This is how we should think. What services I have in my Krishna consciousness? What service I'm doing to my Guru? What service I'm going to Vaishnavas? We should always think like that, because that is how we will remain transcendently situated, or we will come to transcendental position eventually. We'll get transcendental touch and elevation. And then he says here, because of his possessing spiritual assets, the doubts of duality were completely cut off. Thus he was freed from the three modes of material nature and placed in transcendence. You see, we're talking about getting freed from the infection of three modes of material nature. Here it is, see. Because of possessing spiritual assets, the doubts of duality were completely cut off. Thus he was freed from the three modes of material nature and placed in transcendence. There was no longer any chance of his becoming entangled in birth and death. That is our disease. You see, here Prabhupada also connects. You see, because of the modes of material nature, then the disease of birth and death comes. You see, here also you find the connection. You're able to see? That was a different sixth canto. Now here it is first canto. But same thing, you see, concept is the same. You're able to see or not? Very well. You're all able to get the
Yeah,
connection? Yeah. So because he got freed from the modes of mortal nature, that was the infection. Then no longer entanglement in birth and death, you see. Free from, thus he was freed from the material form, you see. So this is how it is. And that happens how? Because of possessing spiritual assets. That means when you perform bhakti yoga, then you get touch of the Lord. Then you get the holy name. You have the Bhagavatam. You have these all assets for us when you take shelter like that. So then the dualities will be cut off. Three modes of material nature will be over. Okay. So I think we'll stop here. Time is up. One is not able to feel the presence of the Lord in all circumstances. One is endowed with the required transcendental vision, which is made possible by devotional service prescribed in the revelation. Yeah, this is the position of Vishoka. Yeah. Any questions? Anybody has? Any questions or anything? See here also writing. One can see him and feel his presence simply by understanding the Advaya Jnana of the Lord, absolute truth. Through the process of devotion service, it begins with hearing about him. But Chaitanya says that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can at once wash off the dust on the mirror of the pure consciousness. And as soon as dust is removed, one is at once freed from all material conditions. To become free from material conditions means to liberate the soul. Yeah. As soon as Arjuna took the up instruction of Bhavita, expert as he was, he could at once eradicate the material conception of Lord Krishna as his eternal friend. No, material, okay. Okay, so any questions anybody has? Yes, Prabhus. Any questions? Any reflection, questions, anything? Everybody's video off. Nobody's there. Any questions, comments? Okay. No reflection? Any reflection? Reward? Infection with the modes of material nature mainly. Infection with the modes of material nature. Yes, Srinivas Prabhu, बताइए. Go ahead. Srinivas Prabhu, you want to
Yes,
say
Prabhuji.
something?
Our Pavritti Marga. Yes, Prabhuji, reflection.
Yeah.
Of पहले बोले हियरिंग इज आल्सो लाइक ट्रांसडेंटल, लाइक जो भगवान का पास्ट टाइम्स होता है, फॉर्म और साउंड, ये सब भगवान से अलग नहीं है, और वो भी भगवान ही छे, ऐसा आप बोले। और फुल्ली वी हैव टू टेक फुल्ली शेल्टर ऑफ द लॉर्ड। और आप बताए कि प्रवृत्ति मार्ग और निवृत्ति मार्ग। प्रवृत्ति मार्ग ये है कि हम रिपीटेड साइकिल ऑफ बर्थ एंड डेथ में जाते रहते हैं, और निवृत्ति मार्ग उससे हम जो भगवान की सेवा करके हम उस साइकिल ऑफ बर्थ एंड डेथ से बाहर आ जाते हैं प्रभु जी। और आप जो बताए, हम एक टाइम के लिए सोचना नहीं है, हम तभी टाइम आता है, टाइम मिलता है हमको भगवान का मिशन में लगा देना है।
Very good. Srinivas was heard very well. Very good. Capture the very vital points. Very good. Good, thank you. Like this, everybody should share actually. And we understand, okay, they would that thing. Srinivas Prabhu, you are a friend of Shankar Prabhu, huh?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, प्रभु जी।
Okay. Okay, okay. You are staying where now?
प्रभु जी, आई एम एट बीदर, कर्नाटका प्रभु जी।
Okay, okay. Fine. You are a doctor, no?
यस प्रभु जी।
MBBS.
No,
नो
no, Prabhuji. He is by profession scientist. Prabhuji was.
Oh, a scientist now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu. Hari Bol. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. So maybe we can end the meeting and again we will rejoin. Shivachan Prabhu, can we do that? Because this is recorded, then they will have to hear. If somebody wants to hear the recording, then they'll have like very big recording. So we will stop it, and then again we'll rejoin the meeting. So Amy, Swapnil Prabhu, and Nancy, we can please again rejoin the meeting. Hare Krishna.
Sure. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.